Okay guys, sorry about that. I got interrupted with a phone call, so I need to learn how to put my video on airplane mode, I think. So hopefully you guys are getting an understanding of how to compare decimals and what a decimal looks like and how to write a fraction and a decimal and how fraction and decimals compare with each other. And I hope you're having a great day learning from home and you're having fun being in the comfort and coziness of your home and still getting to do math, because I know this third grade class loves math. Okay, so one more time, I told you we'd try to compare and order decimals. This time we're gonna put the biggest decimal first and the smallest decimal last. Okay, not to trick you guys up, but these are all very similar, so you gotta really watch. We have 3.12. The way you say this is 3 and 12 hundredths, because it's 12 out of 100, okay? Then we have 3.02, which stands for 3 and 2 out of 100, because look, the 2 is in the hundredths place. Now look, remember, they're all kind of very similar. And then we have 3 and 22 out of 100, 3.22, which stands for 22 out of 100. Okay, so we have 3.22, 3.12, and 3.02. So we said the very first thing that we do is we look at the first place value, which is the ones. If I look at the ones, they all have a 3 in the ones place value. Right here is the ones place value. They all have a 3. So we can't pick one as bigger. So now we have to go to the next place value, which is the tenths, tenths place value. So if we look at the first one, it has a 2. The second one has a 1, and the last one has a 0. What's the biggest number? The 2. So this is already in order. This is the biggest, then in the middle is the 1, and last is the 0 because the 0 is smallest. So 3 and 22 out of 100 is the biggest. 3 and 12 out of 100 is the middle, and 3 and only 2 out of 100 is the last. But do you guys see how you can easily compare decimals by looking at the place value? If I was to do this again with some other numbers, if I had, let me just put 2 of them together here, okay? So if I have 0.30, which is 30 out of 100, and 0.36, which is 36 out of 100, and I was going to compare these, which one was bigger? They both have 3 in the tenths place, so we can't use that to compare. We go to the next number. This one has a 0. This one has a 6. 6 is obviously bigger, so 36 out of 100 is bigger than only 30 out of 100. So this one would go first, and this one would go second, okay? Do you guys see how to easily compare decimals, okay? What if I had this one right here? 0.036 and 0.30. This, again, still represents 30 out of 100, but this represents 36 out of 1,000 because it goes all the way to the thousands place. Okay, we look at the first digit still. This one has a 3. This one has a 0. That's not big at all. This one is way bigger, 30 out of 100, than only getting 36 out of 1,000. Okay, the last thing I want to show you guys this week is there's some other things you can do with decimals. You can add and subtract decimals. That sounds scary, but it's not at all, because adding and subtracting decimals is the same thing as regular adding and subtracting. There's just a decimal there. It's kind of like adding and subtracting money, okay? So we've done this before, right? Here's 3 and 26 out of 100, or 3.26, and 4 and 89 out of 100, which is 4.89. You guys, the most important thing when you're adding and subtracting decimals is just to make sure the decimal is lined up. So in this problem, the decimals had to be lined up. The hundredths column had to be lined up. The tenths column had to be lined up. And what is this? This is the ones place value, ones, because it's right in front of the decimal. And all you do is do regular adding, right? 6 plus 9 is 15. You put the 5 down here, the 1 up here. I know this class is great at math. 1 plus 2 is 3. 3 plus 8 is 11. Put the 1 down here, the 1 up here, and you're gonna bring down the decimal point. You've heard me say that a million times. Bring down the decimal point. 1 plus 3 is 4. 4 plus 4 is 8. Your answer would be 8.15, or 8 and 15 out of 100, or 8.15. Okay, so adding and subtracting decimals is easy. It's very similar to adding and subtracting money. All you have to do is make sure your decimals are lined up. The next thing I want to show you guys is on some of your worksheets this week, they're asking you to round decimals. Again, the same thing as regular rounding, and we did rounding a lot this school year. You guys are really, really good at rounding. So let's look at this first problem. It's 9 and 62 out of 100, or 9.62. What if they're asking you to round this to the whole number? Well, if they're asking you to round it to the whole number, the ones place, you're gonna underline the ones place. We're not even gonna go in the tenths or hundreds right now because they're not asking you to round it to that. The same thing we do with regular rounding. You look at the number beside it and you say, are you bigger than 5 or are you smaller than 5? Oh, you're bigger than 5? If you're bigger than 5, the 9 becomes a 10. Put your decimal, the rest become zeros. That is how you do rounding, just like normal rounding. Okay, but what if they ask you to round this one, 3.51 or 3 and 51/100ths, to the nearest 10th value, right? So we're gonna underline the 10th place value and look beside it, right? And we're gonna say same thing. Are you bigger than 5 or are you smaller than 5? Well, the 1 is smaller than 5. So the 5 stays the same, the 3 stays the same, the 5 stays the same, and the rest become zeros. So again, you guys are really good at rounding. We've done rounding so much. You guys know rounding. But if you have any questions about how to round, reach out to me. I will let you know and give you some tips on how to do it better. But it's just like regular rounding, except for with decimals. Very much like rounding money. All right, well, I hope you guys have learned a lot about decimals. I love decimals. They're really fun. We're probably going to review a little bit next week on decimals. There are a lot of worksheets in your packet to do on decimals. You're going to have to add and subtract decimals, round decimals, write decimals in standard written and expanded form, and make decimals with fractions and place value blocks. So if you have any questions about it, just reach out to me and let me know. Have fun doing math, you guys. I love you. And remember, all your friends at school miss you. They miss you. They wish they could see you. We love you. Have fun at home. Bye, everybody.